Magnolia is a large genus of about 210 flowering plant species in the subfamily Magnolioideae of the family Magnoliaceae. To avoid damage from pollinating beetles, the carpels of Magnolia flowers are extremely tough. The natural range of Magnolia species is a disjunct distribution, with a main center in East and Southeast Asia and a secondary center in Eastern North America, Central America, the West Indies, and some species in South America.
English botanist William Sherrod, who studied botany in Paris under Joseph Pitton de Tournefort, a pupil of Magnol, was most probably the first after Plumier to adopt the genus name Magnolia. The species that Plumier originally named Magnolia was later described as an honor to the Capitalobiida mark, and has since been named Magnolia plumeri and Talorma plumeri and still a number of other names, but is now known as Magnoliaceae capitala. Under Magnolia virginiana Linnaeus described 5 varieties: Glauca, F. Tida, Grissi, Tripetala, and Acuminata. By the end of the 18th century, botanists and plant hunters exploring Asia began to name and describe the Magnolia species from China and Japan. The first Asiatic species to be described by Western botanists were Magnoliaoideae nudata and Magnolia liliiflora, and Magnolia coco and Magnolia figo.
For example, Flora of China offers 2 choices: a large magnolia which includes about 300 species, everything in the Magnoliaceae except Liriodendron tulip tree, or 16 different genera, some of them recently split out or re-recognized, each of which contains up to 50 species. The Western co-author favors the big Magnolia genus, whereas the Chinese recognize the different small genera. Species of Magnolia are most commonly listed under 3 subgenera, 12 sections, and 13 subsections, such as that used here, following the classification of the Magnolia Society. S.E. Yunnan, China. Charles Plumier from 1646 to 1704 described a flowering tree from the island of Martinique in his genera, giving it the name Magnolia, after the French botanist Pierre Magnol. In general, the Magnolia genus has attracted horticultural interest.
J. Cale, December 5, 1938 – July 26, 2013, wrote a song about a woman named Magnolia, which has been covered by Poco, Beck and Lucinda Williams. The 1989 movie Steel Magnolias is based on a 1987 play, Steel Magnolias, by Robert Harling. Taxonomists who merge Michelia into Magnolia tend to merge these small genera into Magnoliaceae. Botanists do not yet agree on whether to recognize the big Magnolia genus or the different small genera. Others flower in late spring or early summer, including the Sweet Bay Magnolia M. virginiana and the Southern Magnolia M.H. Corn, Guy Munipal, Burma Magnolia lasianut. Another aspect of Magnolia considered to represent an ancestral state is that the flower bud is enclosed in a bract rather than in sepals. Magnolia shares the tipal characteristic with several other flowering plants near the base of the flowering plant lineage such as Ambarella and Nymphaea, as well as with many more recently derived plants such as Lilium.
Since Linnaeus never saw a herbarium specimen, if there ever was one of Plumier's Magnolia, and had only his description and a rather poor picture at hand, he must have taken it for the same plant which was described by Catesby in his 1730 Natural History of Carolina. The Fraser Magnolia, M. Magnolias are used as food plants by the larvae of some Lepidoptera species, including the giant leopard moth. Carl Linnaeus, who was familiar with Plumier's genera, adopted the genus name Magnolia in 1735 in his first edition of Systema Naturae, without a description, but with a reference to Plumier's work.
In 1753, he took up Plumier's Magnolia in the first edition of Species Plantarum.